What time did Mr. Aysgarth leave?
Why, about 7, ma'am.
And Mr. Thwaite went with him?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, why didn't you wake me?
Well, Mr. Aysgarth said not to disturb you.
What car did they use?
Well, ma'am,
What car? Which one? Listen.
Oh, that's Mr. Aysgarth now, ma'am.
He's back. He's come back.
Hello. Morning, Lena.
Johnny.
You feeling better? Oh, what's the matter? You're as white as a sheet.
Where's Beaky?
What?
Hello, old girl. How you feeling?
Oh.
Any better?
Lena, what is it?
Oh, Johnny. Oh, darling, I'm so glad.
Well. What is all this? Why, I've only been away a few hours.
It seems like 1,000 years.
Yeah, seems like that to me, too.
Oh, shut up, Beaky. It was nothing.
Nothing. I came very near to losing my life. You call that nothing?
You nearly lost your life.
Came very close to it.
Oh, let's drop the subject.
No, go on, Beaky. I want to hear about it.
Well, there we were on the top of the cliff. I was trying to turn my car near the edge.
Was Johnny in the car?
No. He was a few feet away.
Go on.
Well, I didn't realize that I was backing the car right towards the edge, but I was. And if old Johnny hadn't taken a flying leap and grabbed the brake, I should be in Kingdom Come by now.
Johnny saved your life. Johnny. Oh, I can never tell you how much this means to me.
To you, darling?
Yes, it means a good bit to me, too. The old fellow deserves a reward. I say, how about a night out? A spot of celebrating on me, Bean.
Very kind of you, Beaky, but don't you have to go to Paris?
Paris?
Oh, yes, of course, so I do. My security's over there. I got to go over and cancel the arrangements for them. I say, why don't you come over with me?
Why, the cad seems to forget that I'm a married man. I tell you what I might do, Beaky. I might drive up to London with you. Hey, how about that, monkey face?
Yes, Lena, do let him come.
Well, it seems to me.
Yes, I know. It seems to you that I should be looking for a job. Well, it seems to me I'll have much more chance of getting a job in London than I would anywhere around
Yes,
here.
of course he would. I say, do let him come, Lena.
Well, I don't see very well how I can stop him.
Good girl.
Mrs. Aysgarth.
Yes, Ethel?
There's an Inspector Hodgson in the hall, ma'am. He wants to speak to Mr. Aysgarth.
Show him in, Ethel.
Very good, ma'am. Will you come this way, please, sir?
Thank you. Mrs. Aysgarth?
Yes?
My name's Hodgson, Inspector Hodgson from the county police.
Oh, how do you do?
I understand your husband's not in, ma'am.
No, he's been up in London for 2 days.
Well, perhaps you might be able to help us.
Yes, of course.
I believe you know a Mr. Thwaite.
Yes, he's a close friend of my husband's.
Well, I don't know how to put it quite. Perhaps it would be easier if I showed you this in this afternoon's paper. Right here, ma'am.
Englishman found dead. An Englishman met with a mysterious death in a house in Paris. He's believed to be Mr. Gordon Cochrane Thwaite of Beaky.
I'm sorry to have to do this, ma'am, but we're making inquiries on behalf of the Paris police. They found some papers on Mr. Thwaite's person which indicated he just formed a corporation with your husband.
What do the French police think caused the death?
Well, this is a copy of a telegram that we received from Paris. Thwaite visited the place in the company of another Englishman. On arrival, Thwaite ordered a bottle of brandy.
Brandy?
According to the statement of one of the waiters, Thwaite's companion asked for the brandy to be served in large beakers. Apparently, as a result of a bet between the two men, Thwaite filled one of these beakers to the brim and drank it all. The other man was not present when the actual tragedy happened. I'm sorry to upset you, ma'am, but do you or your husband happen to know of any friend of Mr. Thwaite's who might have been there with him?
No.
Then perhaps you could enlighten us about this corporation.
Yes, I believe I can. My husband had planned a real estate development with him, and Mr. Thwaite had gone to Paris to dissolve the corporation.
Thank you, ma'am. That's all. Good day.
Good day. He didn't go to Paris. He's in London. Johnny's in London. He's at the club. He's got to be at the club. He didn't go to Paris. He didn't. Hello? Hogarth Club? May I speak to Mr. Aysgarth, please? He left? Left when? Yesterday morning? No, it doesn't matter. Thank you. Murder.
In Lena's mind, the sharp sting of suspicion has given way to the dull, sickening ache of certainty. Certainty that her husband is a murderer. Returning to the house, he stands framed in the doorway, looking at her. She turns toward him with fear in her eyes.
You've read about Beaky, have you? I was terribly fond of Beaky.
Were you?
Yes, I loved that silly, generous, good-hearted fool.
Did you?
Of course I did. Next to you, I loved him more than anybody in the world.
Next to me?
Oh, poor monkey face. Here I am thinking only of myself and forgetting about you. You liked him too, didn't you?
I liked him very much. The police were here.
The police? What did they want?
They wanted you to help them. It seems there was an Englishman who made a bet.
Yes, I know. The whole story was in the late edition. What else?
The inspector wants you to phone him. He thought perhaps you could help identify this Englishman.
What did you tell them? Did you mention the corporation?
Naturally, I told him Beaky was planning to dissolve it.
I wish you'd left all that to me. Hello. Wickstead Police Station, please. What else did you tell them?
That's about all.
Hello. Hello, Inspector. This is Mr. John Aysgarth. Yes. Yes. Well, I drove up to London with him on Tuesday evening, and we dined at the Savoy. Yes. Well, then I saw him off at Croydon Airport. Oh, no. I stayed in London until this afternoon. At my cub.
Lena, how nice to see you. I don't see half as much as you as I'd like.
Well, that's sweet of you, Isabel. You know, I couldn't put my light out until 3 this morning. I was so interested in your last book, and I had to come over and talk to you about it.
That's the most thrilling compliment I ever got.
I was completely fascinated by the way your villain enticed his victim across the footbridge, knowing that the bridge had been sawn through.
And he also knew his victim couldn't swim. Don't forget that.
Well, what I want to know is this. Would you call that an actual murder?
Well, from the moral standpoint, there's no question at all. It is murder.
I suppose it is.
What does Johnny think?
Johnny, I haven't discussed it with him.
I should think he'd be interested. The same situation with this friend of his in Paris.
The same?
Well, that brandy business is just like my footbridge. By the way, this brandy thing isn't new at all, you know.
Oh, it's been done before?
Oh, yes. And in real life, too. I have it here. A book called The Trial of Richard Palmer. Now, where is that book? Trial of Richard Palmer, the trial of... Oh, I remember where it is. It's in your house.
My house?
Yes. Johnny borrowed it a week ago.
Hello?
Hello. May I speak to Mr. Aysgarth, please?
He isn't in. This is Mrs. Aysgarth speaking.
Oh, well, this is the Guarantor's Life Insurance Company.
Yes?
Would you tell Mr. Aysgarth that there's been a slight delay in replying to his inquiry? But we've written him fully on the matter, and he should get our letter by first post in the morning.
Dear sir, replying to your inquiry regarding a loan of £5,000 against your wife's insurance policy, we regret to state that such a loan cannot be granted. According to the terms of the policy, payment can only be made in the event of your wife's death. If you...
Morning, dear. Any letters for me? Oh, what's the matter?
Nothing.
Darling, you're not shivering, are you?
I have a bit of a chill.
Cold in all this sunshine. My poor little shivering baby. Oh, what are we doing tonight?
We're going to Isabel's to dine.
Oh, what a bore. Well, let's get back to that new book of yours, Isabel. You mean to tell me that a fellow comes into a room, sits down and starts to strum on the piano, and 2 seconds later he's shot? Is that the idea?
Yes. A certain note on the piano was wired to a revolver concealed in the wall paneling.
Oh, I don't care much for that, Isabel. You're slipping, old girl.
What's wrong with it?
Oh, it's too complicated. If you're going to kill somebody, just do it simply.
How would you do it, simply, Johnny?
Oh, I don't know, dear. Just use the most obvious method.
For instance?
Well, for instance, poison, say arsenic.
Arsenic can be traced in the body, of course.
But it isn't always.
No. This very minute, there are probably hundreds of murderers walking about.
Thousands.
Johnny, do you suppose those murderers are happy?
Oh, I don't know. Why shouldn't they be? Anyway, Isabel, it seems to me that by now somebody would have discovered a poison that can't be traced.
What's that?
What about it? Isn't there?
An untraceable poison? Nonsense. There's no such thing.
Isabel, you're hiding something from me.